So my Rebbe, Rabbi Zechariah Wallerstein, may his memory be a blessing, he told us this parable. Now, I don't believe this is his own parable. I believe this is from a more ancient source, but I don't have that source at my fingertips, so I'm going to say it the way that I remember him saying it. There's a parable that there once was a king, and the king had a daughter, and the daughter became very ill. She became ill with a deathly illness. And the king sent for all the most skilled doctors in the land, and they all tried to help her, and they said, there's nothing we can do. Finally, one doctor said, the only remedy for her illness is she has to drink a cup of tiger's milk. The problem is, it's impossible to get a cup of tiger's milk, because who is going to get close enough to a tiger to milk the tiger without getting eaten by the tiger? So the king puts out a proclamation. He says, anyone who can get me a cup of tiger's milk, he will earn the hand of my daughter in marriage. He'll become heir to the throne. And so a fellow comes along and he says, I can get you a cup of tiger's milk. So the king says, okay, be my guest, go ahead. So what does the fellow do? He goes out to the African savannah and he stays hidden in the bushes, and he watches the tiger on the savannah there. And one night he sneaks out onto the savannah and he puts down a piece of meat. And he stays in the bushes and he watches the next day the tiger comes, sees the meat, and eats it up. The next night the fellow drops another piece of meat there and he goes into the bushes. And when the tiger comes out, the man steps out of the bushes just one step out. And he allows the tiger to see him, but he doesn't approach enough to make the tiger feel threatened. And the tiger eats the meat and ignores the fellow. The next day, the person puts another piece of meat and he takes 2 steps towards the tiger. And the tiger sees him, ignores him, and takes the meat. And day after day, the man puts another piece of meat and he takes 1 step closer to the tiger until the tiger becomes very comfortable with the man's presence and does not attack him. At a certain point, the man gets so close to the tiger that he's able to pet the tiger. It's a mama tiger, conveniently. He's petting the mama tiger while she's eating the meat, and she becomes very comfortable with him. Until finally, while the mama tiger is eating the meat one day, he goes and he milks the tiger, and he gets a cup of tiger's milk. He's traveling back to the kingdom, and he sets up camp, and he goes to sleep. And while he's sleeping, he has this dream. And in his dream, the different parts of his body begin to argue. And the hands say, I should get the reward because, I am the one who milked the tiger. And the feet say, no, I should get the reward because I'm the one who took us to the tiger step by step. And the brain says, I'm the one who should get the reward because I'm the one who came up with the plan. And they're all fighting who should be the full recipient of the king's reward, who gets the crown over the rest of the limbs of the body. And the tongue speaks up and says, I should get the reward. And they say, you, tongue, what did you do? You did nothing. And they all laugh him off the stage, and they don't give him a hearing. He says, you'll see. You'll see why I get the reward. The man finally comes back to the kingdom. He gets in front of the king, and the king says, so did you bring it? And he says, yes, king. I hold here in my hand a cup of dog's milk. And the king says, what? And everyone's mouth in the court, the king's court, the throne room, their mouths drop open. What did he just say? And the king says, what did you say? A what? And he says, excuse me, king. I said, I have brought you a cup of dog's milk. And the man can't believe what he himself said. And the king says, are you mocking me? My daughter's dying. You're gone for a week, 2 weeks. I'm waiting for you to bring this to me, and you mock me by bringing me dog's milk. And he says, no, what I said is it's dog's milk. It's dog's milk. And he can't say it's tiger's milk. And the king says, guards, off with his head. And suddenly within him, his hands, his feet, his brain, they all start screaming to the tongue. They say, you win, you get the reward. You're the king. Please say what you need to say. And the tongue says, as king, what I meant to say is it's tiger's milk. It's tiger's milk. I brought you a cup of tiger's milk. And he says, oh, why didn't you say so? And they take the cup of milk and they give her to drink. And she's healed. And he marries her. And he lives happily ever after. And my Rebbe said, this is the parable for the verse in Proverbs, which, by the way, the name of the book of Proverbs, Mishlei, actually means parables, not Proverbs. But in this parable, it says the death and life are in the hand of the tongue. Why is the tongue such a precious tool? For all the reasons we described, that a man is the image of God. He's a creator like God is a creator. But what is his primary tool of creation and destruction? God breathes into man the soul of life. He breathed into him, it says, a speaking spirit. The soul of life, that creative force, that godly spirit, is man's power of speech. We have the power to create. We have the power to destroy. And so my Rabbi Wallerstein, would say how careful we must be with our tool of speech, to utilize it correctly, because if we don't, destruction could ensue. I'm going to